going to start our second presentation. So it will be on the biomechanical reading of Mario Del Monaco's Lunge Technique, and this will be presented by Dr. Puntwitt Asawadejmetakul. He is a full-time lecturer at the School of Music, Princess Galyani Vadhana Institute of Music. So it's where we will explore fascinating intersection of biomechanics, history, and vocal pedagogy through the lens of Mario Del Monaco's unique technique. So please welcome Dr. Puntwitt.
ได้ครับ Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Puntwitt Asawadejmetakul. Thank you for joining me today. The paper I'm presenting is titled "On Biomechanical Reading of Mario Del Monaco's Lunge Technique." This study is both an academic inquiry and a personal exploration, one that connects the world of operatic singing with the discipline of classical fencing. The inspiration for this research stems from the teaching legacy of Marcello del Monaco, brother and close collaborator of the tenor Mario del Monaco. In Marcello del Monaco, Il Maestro dei Tenori, he reflects on how Mario's method, first shaped by Arturo Melocchi's muscular school and gradually evolved through decades of performance and teaching. Over time, Mario replaced rigidity with elasticity, tension with freedom. At the core of his refinement lay two principles: first, to always sing with a low larynx, and to maintain a lifted, soft palate in both ascending and descending lines. At this point, I would like to show you a picture that first inspired me to this study. This is a 1961 recording session of Verdi's Othello with Wiener Philharmoniker. In this moment, Mario del Monaco describes his posture as lunge, as in fencing. Out of my curiosity and desire to understand how fencing could inform singing, I began searching for the parallels. Then I came across this image from Luigi Babassetti, the classical fencing lunge. What struck me was how closely the posture mirrored the photograph of Mario del Monaco, almost exactly. That discovery became the turning point and led me to ask, what is fencing lunge biomechanically, and how might those same principles apply to singing? And those questions became the foundation of my study. In my search, I turned to fencing treatises and found that the lunge itself did not appear until 1600, alongside the shift from the board to handed longsword to slender rapier. The longsword, dominant in the 14th to 16th centuries, favored sweeping cuts and circular arcs, but as armor vanished, the rapier emerged narrow, precise, and built for thrusting. Capo Ferrer's 1610 treatise codified the lunge as the definition thrust, direct, economical, penetrating. In that evolution, I saw parallel to singing from Garcia's bel canto arcs to Melocchi's linear forward drive. Here we can see the contrast more clearly. This transition from cutting arcs to thrusting lines, which sets the stage for our vocal comparison. And we turn back to singing. The distinction appears in two great pedagogical lineage of Garcia and Melocchi. Garcia's school cultivated sweetness and really cool rounded tone, lofted resonance, graceful continuity of line. His bel canto resembles the longsword, arcing, curved, elegant, prioritizing beauty and flexibility. Melocchi's school, by contrast, produced darker and power, penetrating resonance, linear drive, uncompromising projection. His method resembled the rapier, direct thrust, note-to-note process, maximizing force and intensity. Just as the sword evolved from cut to thrust, singing too evolved from Garcia rounded bel canto to Melocchi's thrusting resonance. As my research deepened, I discovered that before a fencer can make the lunge or do anything at all, there is essential position called the en garde. This posture is not passive standing, but active readiness. The fencer first, the feet are shoulder width apart, front foot forward, back foot at the right angle, knee soft, hips lower, spine tall, weight rests on the thighs as if the quad dissect quietly. If you would assume to this position, you will notice that the abdominal wall is freed from holding the body upright so it can focus on regulating the breath. The spine lengthens, the chest opens, the pelvic floor remains toned yet relaxed, the diaphragm domes hover in readiness, the intercostal and the obliques stretch eccentrically, and the ribs widen with ease. From this simple en garde, we already see how fencing offers singer not only imagine, but somatic framework for breath and resonance. From the en garde comes the lunge. In fencing, this is the forward thrust, the arm extends, the body drives, the rapier seeks its mark. First, the fencer let the front foot glide forward as if carrying an invisible blade. Keep the leg firm, the spine long, and feel that forward-reaching energy. For us singer, this thrust is not combat but a release. The body channeling breath into tone. The quadriceps bear the weight, freeing the abdominal from strain, so the torso, intercostals, and obliques can serve only the breath. While the diaphragm then descends without force, the transverse abdominis giving quite support. The larynx settles into its natural low place, the pharyngeal chamber expands, the soft palate rises, the tongue root releases, all as the consequences of alignment, not effort. Just as the fencer thrusts a blade, the singer thrusts sound, a projection into space, and when the phrase ends, the body does not collapse but flow back into the en garde, balanced, elastic, and ready. This cycle of thrust and recovery of projection and return is the essential of Mario Del Monaco's lunge. To make this even clearer, we can think of the whole cycle, en garde, lunge, and recovery as 3 phases. The first phase is elastic loading. The body is charged elastically with our en garde position. The knee is flexed, weight balanced in the quadriceps, pelvic and spine in harmony. The rib cage is open, the chest released, the abdomen free. Already here the breast is quietly prepared, the ribs widen, the diaphragm hovers in readiness, the pelvic floor mirrors that support without clenching. The second phase, the thrust initiation, the body release forward in lunge, quadriceps stabilize, the transversus abdominis engage subtly, and the diaphragm descends naturally, the larynx settles low, the pharynx space open, and the tone projects outward, direct, precise, and effortless. Breath and sound move together as a unified linear thrust. And the third phase, the recovery, the body returns to the poised readiness, ribs remain gently expand, the spine tall, the diaphragm rises elastically, and the pelvic floor returns to equilibrium. Posture and breath remain balanced, preparing immediately for the next phase without collapse or tension. So the cycle is complete, load, thrust, and recovery. Not brute force, but elegance. Not strain, but structure. This is the genius of Mario Del Monaco's insight. The singing, like fencing, is disciplined art of energy, prepared, direct, and renewed. As I mentioned, Mario Del Monaco described his lunge technique with 2 guiding principles. First, to sing with a low larynx, and second, to sing with high palate. Through my bionical analysis of fencing position, I realized that these points are not targeted to be forced. They emerge naturally when the body is aligned correctly and when 3 phrases are understood and embodied. Instead of pushing the larynx down or straining to lift the palate, which often create tension and rigidity, I summarize the approach that emphasize balance, elasticity, and forward intention into 4 points. First, the elastic suspension that checked with the relaxation of the thoracic and abdominal musculature through the en garde position, allowing the body to carry itself without tension. Second, the diaphragm and pelvic floor elasticity that checked if the diaphragm expands eccentrically with reciprocal yield of pelvic floor, enabling the larynx to descend naturally. Posture stabilized is the third, to check if the engagement of quadriceps and transversus abdominals to anchor support without compression, clarify breath control. And the fourth is the forward intention to make sure to direct the tone outward, allowing the breath and sound to flow freely without outward pressure. With this flow principle, the low larynx and high palate no longer needs to be forced. They emerge spontaneously as natural byproduct of coordinated mindful posture and breath. I propose that this biomechanical reading of En Garde, Lunge and Recovery, together with the 3 phrases cycle and the 4-point checklist of achieving a low larynx and high palate, is not meant to define a permanent singing stance. Rather, it functions as a training gesture, a tool for cultivating bodily awareness and coordination. By practicing within this framework, singers gradually internalize the sensation of elastic loading, balance, thrust, and natural recovery. Once familiar, this sensation can be understood into standard singing posture, emerging effortlessly without the need to assume a literal lunge-like form. The intention is not for singer to perform in an exaggerated fencing posture, but to use it as a catalyst for awakening latent muscular and acoustic connections. Over time, the body learns to recognize and produce these connections in ordinary alignment, allowing the voice to retain the richness of a low larynx and the openness of high palate, naturally without force and without unnecessary tension. Now, I would like to conclude my presentation with the voice of the great Mario Del Monaco. What you will hear is the portrayal of Verdi's Othello performed with the Wiener Philharmoniker under the baton of Herbert von Karajan from 1961. This is the very recording during which the iconic photograph of Del Monaco's lunge was taken, a sound and an image forever fused in operatic singing. Before we fully finish, I would like to ask if you'd like to join me for the En Garde, Lunge and Recovery position.
Yes, why not?
Yeah?
We still have time, we have time.
Yeah, we have time. Please stand up. The position is like this. The shoulder width apart, and the back leg is, and the front leg is 90 degrees apart, like this. The knee bends slightly, the pelvic floor lower but toned, the spine is tall, and then the elbow stretched like this. And then as you can imagine, the abdominal is now relaxed and freed from bearing your weight. The weight is now on the quadriceps. And before that, if you get this sensation to singing, you see that the breath regulates more clearly and more freely to the throat and to the head. And from now, as lunge, you are now lifting like this, thrust forward, like this. Would you like to carry me? Like this? Yes. Like this. And then when the lunge finish, it goes back to the en garde. And this is the recovery. So if you would like to practice with it, go. Or Fluky, you want to practice? ลองดูร้องอะไรก็ได้ลองดู
อันนี้ไม่ร้องเลยครับวันนี้
ลองดู
ขออีสัตว์ได้ไหม
The en garde. See how the torso and the rib cage can expand more. The abdominals are free because the weight is rests on the quadriceps. And then you take a breath in. The larynx is lower, the diaphragm is lower, and then you start singing. And when the crucial notes come, you lunge forward with and imagine as if the sword and the projection of sound is as one with one's gestures of body like this. Okay? Yes. Like this? Take a breath in. Take a breath in. How do you feel? How do you feel? Please tell the audience.
I really feel very relaxing and the sound I can very release.
How do you feel compared to just standing still? And when you do the en garde, lunge, and recovery form?
I think when I just stand, I cannot use my power like when I use this position.
ถ้าไม่ไหวพูดไทยก็ได้เดี๋ยวแปลให้
โทษทีครับ
ได้พูดไทยได้
ผมคิดว่าถ้าผมยืนนะฮะมันใช้แรงได้ไม่มากพอเหมือนกับท่านี้มันใช้ได้เยอะกว่า
He said what he felt is that when he stands still in standard posture he don't really have power as much as when he assumed to this position, that when he assumed to this position the breath can give him more power to the voice. มีอะไรจะพูดไหม How do you feel the what do you think give you the differences between the power of this position and this position แตกต่างไงบ้างที่เราคิดเลย
ที่ผมคิดผมคิดว่าถ้าผมคิดว่ามันสามารถใช้แรงตรงข้างล่างตรงนี้ได้เยอะมากๆใช่ครับเพราะว่าถ้ายืนนี่มันถึงว่ามันฟีลได้ยากกว่า
Exactly. He said what he felt is that when he assumed to this position he felt that if the pelvic floor is more active and more engaged to singing. Do you have other questions? Then thank you for today. Thank you very much.